All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the party. Today is October 30th. It is Thursday, 2025. This is episode 995 of your Simply Cyber Daily Cyber Threat Brief podcast. I am your host, Dr. Gerald Auger. And over the next hour, if you are a cybersecurity aspiring professional or active professional, whether you're a junior analyst in the SOC or you're a CISO, I'm telling you right now, you are going to need to stay current on the top cyber threat news of the day in order to be effective at your job. You will be asked in any job interview, how do you stay current on cyber? This right here, the Daily Cyber Threat Brief podcast, is the answer. Alongside all of this community right above my head, we got a good thing going on. You're part of it. Let's go. All right, what's up, everybody? Hold on, I've got to, good morning, I got to change the music here. So the music is on the music output dial. Here we go. Okay, that did nothing. Stand by. All right, there we go. So now the music should be low, but my voice should be high. Let me know in chat, everybody, if you could. Good morning to everybody. Mara Levy, Nerman, Ben Willis. We've got the Simply CyberCon coming up this week, so definitely super pumped to see many of you. As always, please let me know in chat if the audio sounds good. I am coming to you live from the Graduate Hotel here on the campus of USC, where later today I will be delivering a blistering, smoking hot talk on cyber supply chain security and all the cool things associated with that. But first, we got to do the Daily Cyber Threat Brief. If today is your first episode, welcome to the party, pal. We have a good one for you. I would like you to drop a hashtag first timer in chat if it is your first episode. Yeah, and welcome to the madness. I've never quite stayed in a hotel room like this. I deliberately moved the table so I could have this situation in my screenshot. Needless to say, went to bed late, got up at 4 a.m., and it is what it is. The good news is there was no rooster calls, so we definitely avoided that. I want to say good morning to everybody. We got a great show for you. We are going to go through the top cyber news stories of the day, 8 of them. At the mid-roll, we will take a moment. We'll say what's up to the sponsors and thank them. And then always on Thursdays is What's Your Meme Thursday. This guy right here, Dan Reardon, a.k.a. the Haircut Fish, long-timer, great community member. He develops a custom meme for us every single Thursday, and he's got another great one for you. It is Halloween-inspired, so stay tuned for that. Now, did you know that every single episode of the Daily Cyber Threat Brief AdTech knows is worth half a CPE? So see right above my head, see where AdTech says what's up with the CPEs. Say what's up, grab a screenshot, right? You could even put the date, the CPEs, your name. The name of the actual stream itself does have the date and the episode number in it, uniquely identifying where it is. This is, as boring as it sounds, this is an instructor-led webinar. I've got 20 years of experience. I've got a lot of education. I qualify qualified to lead a webinar in cybersecurity. It's an hour-long show. We say half an hour just so there's no, discrepancies around how much of it is education versus how much is entertainment. But it's what we're doing. Now, do let me know in chat what are your thoughts about the rooster. I can't really show you. I'll take another picture and send it in Discord, but like right off camera to the right is a stained glass, three-dimensional, the size of like a good-sized toaster oven rooster that is lit up on my desk. It's very it's very cocky up in this place. A lot of arrogance, a lot of cockiness. No, I'm kidding. The USC, University of South Carolina Gamecocks, they're leaning into it here. Now, we did the first timers. We did the CPEs. I told you how much value you're going to get. Simply CyberCon's cooking. Before we get into it, let me say shout out and love to the stream sponsors, those who enable me to pay for this hotel room and come out here. They allow me to pay for this computer. And they allow me to bring this show to you in a way that I can do it as best I can. Let's start with Anti-Siphon Training. Guys, you know Anti-Siphon Training. They are disrupting the traditional cybersecurity training industry by offering high-quality, cutting-edge education to everyone, regardless of financial position. And what you should know is if you go to antisyphontraining.com, at any point, go to their live training and look at their calendar, you could see their upcoming calendar of activities. And what I would love to call your attention to is that next Wednesday, November 5th, you can get a 1-hour webinar for absolutely free and learn hacking JavaScript desktop apps with cross-site scripting and RCE with Abraham Araguren, right? This is a free 1-hour webinar. Dudes, cross-site scripting, it's an OWASP top 10. It has been forever. JavaScript, threat actors love themselves some JavaScript because it runs in your browser on your endpoint. It doesn't run on the server side. How do you attack it? I don't know, but Abraham's going to show us. Spend an hour, get some education, use it as a launch point to further yourself professionally and use it for networking fodder, right? Write a blog post, write a LinkedIn post, etc. Definitely appreciate that. Antisyphon.com. Also, speaking of free in the value train academy. Now, Flare is a cyber threat intelligence platform. I really enjoy Flare's threat intelligence platform, but they also have Flare Academy, which brings industry professionals to bear in a 2-hour monthly webinar that absolutely slays. And if my GRC Mafia people are out here in chat, where's your GRC Mafia? Hold on, I identify as GRC Mafia, so I'm going to go ahead and drop that in chat. If you are GRC, you do vulnerability management, right? That's part of the gig. And now vulnerability management, it is difficult, it is challenging, it's relentless. But did you know that vulnerability management has evolved since 2023? It's called continuous threat exposure management, and it's vulnerability management on steroids. And if you don't know what it is, you're fighting a boxing match with one hand behind your back, okay? So, how do you find out what CTEM is? Well, you could read the Gartner report on it, but you might, not get value. Or you could have a 2-hour webinar with an instructor who knows what's all about. You can ask questions. After the talk's over, you can go into Flare's Discord and talk directly to the instructor, and it's free. Justin Furness. Are you kidding me? Justin, given 2 hours of his time to help us out. Let's go. So go to simplycyber.io/Flare, get that education, get in there. Dude, I tell you guys all the time, like I literally have a online cybersecurity academy that has charges for some training, right? Some of it's free, but some of it we charge for. I will be the first one to tell you, do the free stuff first. We live in the golden age of cybersecurity education. Do the free stuff first. It's right there for you. You just have to take action. All right, quick note from ThreatLocker, and then we're going to melt your face. Yes, Code Brew, episode 995, the one with the the rooster in the back. All right, quick note from ThreatLocker, and then we're off and running. I want to give some love to the Daily Cyber Threat Brief sponsor, ThreatLocker. Do zero-day exploits and supply chain attacks keep you up at night? Well, worry no more. You can harden your security with ThreatLocker. Worldwide, companies like JetBlue trust ThreatLocker to secure their data and keep their business operations flying high. ThreatLocker takes a deny-by-default approach to cybersecurity and provides a full audit of every action allowed or blocked for risk management and compliance. Onboarding and operation is fully supported by their US-based Cyber Heroes support team. Get a free 30-day trial and learn more about how ThreatLocker can help prevent ransomware and ensure compliance. Visit threatlocker.com/dailycyber. All right. Do me a favor, everyone. Sit back, relax, and let's let the cool sounds of the hot news wash over us all in an awesome wave. It's Simply Cyber, Sands 2024 Podcast of the Year Award, and really the cock of the walk. You know what I mean?
From the CISO series, it's cybersecurity headlines.
These are the cybersecurity headlines for Thursday, October 30th, 2025. I'm Sarah Lane. LG U Plus confirms cybersecurity incident. LG U Plus, one of South Korea's largest telecoms, reported a suspected data breach to the country's cybersecurity agency, KISA, joining SK Telecom and KT Telecom as the third major carrier under investigation in 6 months. This may be linked to Chinese or North Korean hackers who reportedly accessed data from around 9,000 LG U Plus servers. South Korea's Ministry of Science and ICT told TechCrunch that its investigation into KT and LG U Plus is still ongoing. 10 million plus.
Hold on, I was typing in chat. I want to make sure you guys can hear the sound effects and the music. If you haven't been hearing the music or the sound effects, that's a problem. All right, so LG U Plus, I never even heard of this. Apparently, when I think LG, I think, big screen TVs. But, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that they'd have their digits in all sorts of different pies over there. So, Telcom in South Korea says that they have a suspected data breach. There's something you don't see every day. In the United States, just really quick, by the way, my whole value proposition here is that you can read this news story on your own, right? Like why would I listen to you, Jerry? Here's the deal. Number one, I got 20 years of experience and I got opinions and thoughts on some of this stuff. Number two, it's more fun to do this with other people. And finally, number three is that there's so much education that you only get when you sit in the seat. So, a textbook, a classroom's not going to give it to you, and that's what I'm trying to do here, alongside Team SC, the community above my head right here. Okay, so here's the first one, real quick. Number one, suspected data breach. This is completely outrageous. Like Oracle, for example, has a data breach, and they for weeks say we're not really sure. We don't think we have one. No. And then they quietly admit that they do. So first of all, that's the difference between these two, cultures. All right. Let's see. All three telecoms in South Korea report that. Here's my thing. My first thought, before I even go any further, I don't research or prep for these shows, right? Obviously.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I got to tell you right away, my first thought goes to China. China has been just absolutely smoking developed countries' telecom, industries, including the United States. Don't forget, the 9 major telecoms in the U.S. got popped. Several EU ones got popped. South Korea, very much an ally of, at least the United States. I would assume all Five Eyes. So, a reasonable target for people who are more in the BRICS camp, right? All right, so let's see what else they're talking about here. The one good thing is when they attack the telecoms, it seems to be more of a long-term plan instead of a data breach, like a financially motivated ransomware threat actor. All right. Oh my God. So in the cyber kill chain, the first step you do is recon. Sometimes you do an attack or a hack in order to get better information for the recon. It looks like Frack Magazine claimed a couple months ago here that China and North Korea had stolen 9,000 servers worth of information. That's quite a bit of intel to execute on. All right, what else we got here? Okay, so there's nothing really more here. It just says that this South Korea has limited cyber systems and experts. So maybe the 2 million jobs in cyber that are outstanding, that these mysterious 2 million jobs that can't be filled in cybersecurity for some reason, even though there's a bunch of people looking to get jobs in cybersecurity. Maybe they're all in South Korea. I don't know. This report doesn't really say anything other than LG U Plus thinks they got hacked and all the other telecoms got hacked. Okay, so here's the deal. South Korea, welcome to the party, basically.
Welcome to the party, pal.
You can almost confirm you've made it as a developed country if your telecom gets hacked in 2025. All right, let's go.
Impacted by conduit breach. Government contractor Conduent said a January cyber attack exposed data from more than 10 million people across multiple U.S. states after hackers accessed its network for nearly 3 months. The SafePay ransomware group claimed the breach, saying that it stole 8.5 terabytes of data tied to Conduent's government contracts for Medicaid, child support, and other programs. Conduent says no stolen data has surfaced publicly.
Wait, prominent government contractor Conduent? Has anyone ever heard of Conduent? When I think prominent government contractor, I think Raytheon, SEIC, Lockheed Martin, Booz Allen, Deloitte, Accenture, Capgemini, KPMG, PwC. I can keep going on. I've never heard of Conduent. Not that that doesn't mean anything. But maybe they're talking about like a different government besides the United States. Okay. I don't know. I guess you know how I'm kind of a peckerhead sometimes. Like just the word prominent. I hate to be so anal about it, but like the word prominent, bro. Like what are we talking about here? I feel like you have to earn that. Okay, watch. I find out Conduit's like a multi-billion-dollar government contractor. Hold on. I've only got one hand, so you got to bear with me here. Revenue. You know, I like to do the revenue. Let's see what they're about. All right. All right. $3 billion. Well, I guess, okay, they make about $3 billion every year. I guess until Simply Cyber starts making $3 billion a year, I should shut my mouth. You shut your mouth, pink rooster. All right. So hackers broke in from October 21st to January 13th. That's a very long time in today's age. So what did they get? They got dozens of contracts with state governments. Okay. So what? Here's my thing. Like, okay, when there is a data breach, whether it's, first party or third party through supply chain, what is the, like, what's the impact, right? I'm a GRC person. Let's talk impact, bud. Okay. All right. So people like me and you are going to get breach notification letters. Sweet. Throw that on the tire fire. Smoldering. 400,000 people had information exposed in Texas. Okay, big Texas, I see you. 48,000 in South Carolina. So don't sleep on the on South Carolina, right? We got it cooking down here. And then, of course, all these Massachusetts, California, they have the privacy things. I'm sure the Maine is in here. Oh, yeah, there it is. Only 378 in Maine. Maine is like such a spunky, little rascal, right? Maine's got like strict privacy reporting laws. They're like, not 378. No. We're going to run the whole thing. We're going to run it back here. Third party compromise. Ben Willis is in chat right now. Ben, this is why I'm coming to South Carolina's capital and giving a talk on literally this in 2 hours. Okay. So there's no information here how they got popped, right? It was a third-party supply chain, but I don't see anything here about how they got impacted or who the third party was. I do actually want to share some insights with you, right? So this is something that goes beyond the story and gives you a little bit of value as a practitioner, okay? So I'm going to read from the story. Due to the complexity of the files, the company engaged cyber data mining experts to evaluate the exfil data, was recently informed of its nature, scope, and validity, and individuals' personal information associated with our clients and end users. Let me tell you guys something really quickly. When you have data that gets compromised, right? Like say you're a healthcare company or whatever the heck Conduit's doing, right? When you have data stolen, right? And the threat actors send you snippets of the data and stuff, it could be PDFs. They could have got a ton of PDFs. They could have got a ton of things. What they don't do, right? What's not happening is they're not the PII database table. Okay, like that would be super convenient because then you could just query the table, show me all the people that got impacted, send them a letter. No. This is actually a nightmare fuel level of effort culling data, right? Because you have to make sure that you find all the people who got impacted so you can notify them. And if you have hundreds of thousands or millions of people in your database or record, you have to vet and figure out whether all of them are contacted. So now you're faced with two choices as a CISO or as a CEO of a company. Number one, you can just tell everybody their data was breached, right? That way you're absolutely covered. Although it looks horrible because now you're actually telling people their data was breached that wasn't breached, which is bad for reputation, cost extra money for the identity theft and all that stuff. But you're not paying money to have some analysts go through and cull the data. Two, you take a swag and say, I think it's these people, and run the liability risk of missing people that were involved in the breach that you didn't notify, and now you look negligent in your incident response and the whole process of notifying people, right? So what's a CISO to do, right? This is why the job of CISO is brutal, and like it was forever. It was my career goal, and then once you get to the top of the mountain, you look around, you you realize it looks a little different than it did at the bottom when you were looking up at it. But my point is, this is some of the challenges that CISOs deal with, because the reality is it costs money. It takes time to cull that data.
Hackers exploit tools against Ukrainian targets. Russian hackers, likely tied to Sandworm, breached Ukrainian organizations using living-off-the-land tactics and legitimate tools to steal data and maintain network access, according to Symantec and Carbon Black. The intrusions targeted a major business services firm and a local government from June to August, using web shells like Local Olive, credential dumping, and PowerShell backdoors. Researchers say the attacks bear Sandworm's hallmarks, but stop short of formal attribution.
All right, so Sandworm's back again. Guess who's back? Tell a friend. Tell a nation-state ally. All right, Sandworm is super legit. If I'm not mistaken, was Sandworm tied to SolarWinds? I'm not sure if they were, but they are like basically the A team for Russian threat actors or state-sponsored capabilities, right? Like the best of the best. And when they want to go after something, they go after it. Looks like they targeted Ukraine. No surprise, dude. In all honesty, Sandworm's probably been targeting Ukraine like for the last 2 years on multiple fronts. And just now, they're getting detected and stuff like that. This is a 2-month-long intrusion, large businesses, week-long attacks, local governments, et cetera, et cetera. Russia's throwing all sorts of spaghetti at the wall to see like what sticks with Ukraine and their long-term military goals of Ukraine. Now, one thing that they did do is they did deploy like basically malware, like custom malware, actual new software on the box. But mostly they relied on living off the land tactics and dual use tools. I haven't heard the term dual use tools before, ever. So I don't know if that's a term you guys know. But if I had to guess, dual use tools might be like a remote management tool like AnyDesk or something that's used for good and used for bad. Again, this term dual use is new to me. Living off the land, though, this one is you should get to know living off the land. This is why anti-malware solutions that are behavior-based are really, really effective, and signature-based are not effective. This is why detection engineers need to develop more complicated detections than did PowerShell run yes, no. It's more like, did PowerShell run? Did it reach out to a C2? Did it pull down something? Did it immediately launch a process out of the temp directory? Did it spawn a command shell out of Word? Like those type of things are indicators of compromise. But living off the land, every time it comes up, it doesn't come off often, but living off the land is something. If you're either an aspiring SOC analyst, you should be familiar with these techniques. And if you're an aspiring or an active pen tester and you're not using living off the land or native binaries to the operating systems you're attacking, you have a great opportunity to grow professionally. This website is like famous, like everybody knows about this one that works in industry. So if you don't, I'm super happy to share this with you. I just dropped it in chat. Basically, it's called LoLBins, and it's living off the land binaries. And essentially, it's just a complete taxonomy. These are all the Windows binaries that come installed by default in the Windows operating system, right? Cert util, obviously cmd.exe. I mean, that's a little on the nose, but like dance.exe. I've literally never heard of this binary, diantz. Okay, never heard of this binary, but it comes installed automatically in the System32 directory, and you, my friend, can use it to hide data in alternate data streams. You can use it to compress a remote file and then store it in a cab file locally. You can use it to execute software, right? So obviously, if you can execute it, you can bypass command line based detections because you're detonating it in some diamond definition file. Never heard of that, but here we go, right? So if you think you're just using cmd.exe to launch things, guess what? Like, detection engineers have also figured that out. So you have to do these other type of techniques. So anyways, check it out. Living off the land. Sandworm is doing Sandworm things. I will tell you this. A persistent threat actor, a advanced, sophisticated threat actor like Sandworm, if they want to get you, right? If they want to get in, if they want to take over your asset or whatever, they're going to get you, okay? Advanced military, nation-state sponsored, capable cyber operators, they have time, they have the skill, they just have to find a way in. And I mean, obviously you can do social engineering and stuff like that and mail malicious USB drives or even send someone physically there, but they are persistent. I mean, that's literally why they're called advanced persistent threat actors, is because they will persist until they achieve their mission. Listen, if you're a financially motivated threat actor, you just want a straight cash, homie, right?
Straight cash, homie.
You don't care who it comes from. So if this target, this manufacturing company, this healthcare system is not producing results within the first day or two or whatever, you move on to the next because there's thousands and thousands of potential very lucrative businesses you can take on, right? I just found out about Conduit or whatever a minute ago. I didn't even know about them. $3 billion, right? Like, just move on to the next target because it's all about volume and soft targets. But when it comes to mission and military, the mission is, hey, guess what, Dmitry? Today your job is to break into this Ukrainian government organization. Report back when you do. Dmitry, right? I'm just picking a random Russian-based vibe name. He can't be like, oh man, I can't get in there. It's too difficult. I'll just move on to a different country's government system. That's not the mission, bro. Comrade, right? So you need to persist. And they're very, very talented at what they do. So that's all a way to say it's all about not just cyber protection, but cyber resiliency, as you've heard me say a million times here. Once you get popped, how quickly can you detect it? Once you detect it, how quickly can you, quarantine, eradicate, and clean it up? That's what makes a good cyber program different from a great cyber program.
NPM malware uses invisible dependencies to infect packages.
This is in my talk today,
Researchers at Koi Security uncovered an ongoing NPM malware campaign dubbed Phantom Raven, active since August, infecting 126 packages with 20,000 downloads. The malware steals NPM tokens, GitHub credentials, and CI/CD secrets, fetching malicious code from attacker-controlled servers at install time to evade detection. Phantom Raven also exploits AI hallucinations via typo-squatted package names, tricking developers into installing compromised packages. At least 80 infected packages currently remain active.
All right, there we go. This is crazy, man. Okay, so, all right, so here's the deal. It's called invisible dependencies, not because it's, white font on a white background or it's UU encoded and doesn't render to the screen. It's called invisible dependencies, and you can see on the screen here if you're watching with us live right now or on replay, not audio. It says 0 dependencies. I guess the deal is as soon as you run it in real time, it pulls that dependency down instead of having it as a stored dependency, which honestly is beneficial from a threat actor perspective for 2 ways. Number one, if you come to my talk today, which I mean you can't, but some people are going to be there. But if you think about how you manage supply chain and open source security and all these other things, one of the things that you would tell a developer is, when you're importing a library, just kind of do a sniff check on it, validate it. Does it make sense, right? Well, this right here, the developer is going to be like, oh, no, it's good. There is no dependencies. There are no imports. This is fine. Everybody wins. In reality, it's in real time. Secondly, and this is probably even more valuable to the threat actor, is that they can update those second stage payloads dynamically, right? So something's broken, some vendor updates their EDR solution to detect whatever your malware is. You can update it because at execution, it's going to pull down the current instance of it. Now, the only thing I would say here is that if you are somehow, I don't even know how you would track in the NPM compiler or whatever it is here, the network traffic going to fetch that dependency, but that is one possible way you could do it. But yeah, the code isn't there, which is another thing, because if you do static analysis of this software, it's not going to show anything malicious because there's nothing malicious in it. It's just a pull down of a file, which it wouldn't be able to see. Pretty clever. I do shout out to threat actors and their cleverness. Essentially what they're doing is they're getting credentials of NPM developers, I would assume, so they can iterate and infect the developers' NPM packages with other ones, and then rinse and repeat until they've got, way more. The other thing that they mentioned that I really, okay, so hold on. 2 things. You can, it's very difficult, right? But put MFA wherever you can. If it is secrets like API keys and stuff that don't really have multi-factor, I don't know if you can do this, but I would assume that you can have some type of, dude, I mean, here's my thing. Like, your whole CI/CD pipeline shouldn't be internet facing. It can be in the cloud like an AWS or something, but you shouldn't have it in internet facing assets, the actual pipeline itself. I feel like that's why the threat actors want to get the creds, is so they can get into those pipelines and then steal secrets and manipulate and do stuff like that. So MFA, all the things. Make sure that your pipelines are not internet facing, obviously. And, just if you can, best practice around, making sure that, systems coming into your environment seem appropriate, right? That doesn't mean that a threat actor in Belarus can't fly to Texas and then do the attack. But as I mentioned earlier, that's hard for a Belarusian to get on a plane and fly to Texas so they don't show up as coming from Europe. It's just easier to go on to another target and attack them, right? All right. The only other thing that they said here that isn't really showing in the notes, but it is worth noting, is that they talk about poisoning LLMs so that the LLM will suggest, or ChatGPT or whatever will suggest to you, hey, go use this library for that problem, and that library is compromised, and ChatGPT doesn't know that. It's been fed this information by threat actors to promote it. It's kind of like using SEO to make a threat actor's library show up higher in a Google search. That's all this is, right? It's the new SEO. I think there's actually a new term for it besides SEO, like AIEO or something like that. Not to be confused with EIEIO. Not to be confused with Old McDonald. But yeah. Also, just as a quick editorial, I saw this morning that OpenAI is like positioning to go public and become a for-profit company, which would then mean that they would take revenue dollars. Can you? It blows my mind because, again, this is complete editorial, but like the fact that businesses are going to be able to pay for ChatGPT to promote their product in AI results is blowing my mind. I mean, I get it that like Google does that with sponsored ads right now. It just feels different, I guess, coming from ChatGPT. All right, let's keep going.
Huge thanks to our sponsor, Conveyor. Security reviews don't have to feel like a hurricane. Most teams are buried in back and forth emails and never-ending customer requests for documentation or answers. But Conveyor takes all that chaos and turns it into calm. AI fills in the questionnaires. Your trust center is always ready, and sales cycles move without stalls. Breathe easier. Check out Conveyor at www.conveyor.com.
Oh my God. Marcus Kyler with the Captain EO reference. Michael Jackson's sci-fi Disney mashup before mashups were cool. All right, guys. Hey, what's up, everybody? I do want to say welcome. Let's do this. Ooh. All right. Hey, everybody. I want to say shout out to all of you. Thank you for being here. We're having a great episode today on episode 995, live from Columbia, South Carolina. USC Gamecocks. I'm in the Pink Rooster Room. Shout out to all of you. Thank you for being here today. I want to say shout out to the stream sponsors, Threat Locker, Anti-Siphon Flare, and Barricade Cyber. Barricade Cyber Solutions offers a webinar series. Hold on one second. A webinar series called Fortify 365. I don't know if you know about it, but every 2 weeks, Eric Taylor and the team are bringing you guidance on this Fortify 365 series. And on November 5th, so just next week, you can do session 6. You don't have to have done the first 5 sessions, okay? In session 6 on November 5th, you're going to be able to do so many things. They're going to be looking at Microsoft Cloud App Security, now part of Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps. Look at all these things you're going to be able to do. Enable file monitoring and app governance, integrate with Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, create alert-driven policies for built-in templates. Guys, if you are trying to learn cloud or you work in an environment where you're responsible for Azure and M365, this is an opportunity you don't want to miss. Go to webinars.barricadecyber.com. Check out this. It's absolutely free to register, and you will get value. Believe that. Don't get confused that free means no value. It's just there's a lot of great people in cybersecurity who are trying to deliver great value and don't want to put a paywall in front of it. All right. Guys, we're having a great show. I feel good. A couple minutes behind, but we're doing all right. Every single day of the week has a special segment. And Thursdays is What's Your Meme Thursday. Now, this guy right here, Dan Reardon, he goes by the Haircut Fish. I don't know if he's in chat right now, but he makes a custom meme. And Halloween is tomorrow. If you grew up with Halloween, you get dressed up, you trick or treat. I didn't know what my Halloween costume was going to be. Dan got me covered. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is your meme of the week. Dan Reardon. This is me. I am a GRC audit report. I am a GRC audit report. So there you go. Thank you very much, Dan Reardon. You can come by my house and grab some candy, take a picture with the GRC Mafia rep. and have a good time. All right. Now, Alpha Sierra, I hope you're here because I decided to blow out the copyright strike today. Let's do the la-la-la-las. It's all about vibe, everybody. Let it wash over you in an awesome wave. Here we go, here we go, here we go.
That Hansel's so hot right now.
Oh my God, there's nothing quite like it. Am I right? All right, let's finish strong, y'all.
Microsoft fixes cause Windows update failures. Microsoft has fixed a known issue causing certain Windows 11 updates to fail, linked to missing language packs and feature payloads removed during automatic or manual component repair. The latest preview update appears to resolve the problem. Administrators unable to install it can use an in-place upgrade via installation media or Windows settings to reinstall missing components without affecting personal files or apps.
All right.
CyberRidge emerges with photonic encryption.
All right, here we go. So if you're an IT administrator or vulnerability manager, you know, you probably drink, and that's okay. So, you know, whatever. If you were getting this error message that would prevent Windows updates from applying, Microsoft has solved it. The Microsoft operating system is a huge piece of code. I mean, there's like entire swaths of code in the Microsoft operating system that developers don't even know what it does, so they just like leave it alone. And when you have this complicated monolithic piece of tech, I guess it's not monolithic fully, but when you have this, you know, very complex piece of software, issues can happen when you stack things on top of it. Basically, chances are you already knew about this if you're doing your regular patches and stuff like that. This is the January 2025 preview. Wait a minute, what? So if you installed, how's this work? If you installed the KB patch, well, the KB article, I guess there's a patch associated with this, I assume. So if you Windows 11 patch in 24H2, which would be the end of 2024, you could have had a problem. This is kind of stupid, guys. Maybe I'm mistaken. Like, you would have had this issue quite a while ago. Microsoft fixed it. There's an in-place fix, I guess, that you can do that got released in October, which is nice. And you can do it without screwing up anybody's files. It does look like you can use centralized management solutions to reinstall the missing components, so you don't have to. Hold on, Windows installation media. Do they mean like a? Oh, bro. Hold on, wait a minute. What? This is wild. I actually think, correct me if I'm wrong, folks, I think you have to physically go to the box to get this done, which is incredibly inconvenient, right? Especially if you have people on travel, remote workforce, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, I guess this wasn't a security patch update anyway, so not a big deal. But obviously, if it was blue screening your machine, here's my thing. If you were experiencing a blue screen from a 2024 patch, chances are you just re-imaged the box because you didn't have a fix on it, right? Whatever.
Solution. Israeli cybersecurity startup CyberRidge emerged from stealth with $26 million in funding for its photonic encryption system, which transforms transmitted data into encrypted optical noise to prevent interception and quantum decryption. The system requires a constantly changing photonic key to access data, aiming to block harvest now, decrypt later attacks. Founded in 2021, CyberRidge already has deployments in defense, intelligence, and telecom sectors across Europe, Australia, Singapore, and Israel.
Wow.
XL.
All right. I mean, I guess if there's a market for it, so check it out. With right now, AES 256 is unbreakable encryption, right? But one day it will be broken because the promise of quantum computers is that it's going to shred it like me driving over a newspaper with my riding lawnmower, just rips it all apart, pisses it everywhere, right? So that's the idea that quantum computers are going to do to encryption. So even though quantum's not here, threat actors, or really anybody with the capability, could save or store, intercept data that's encrypted and then use quantum computers at some point in the future to decrypt it. And that's this save now, decrypt later threat that, nation states are worried about. Okay, I'm gonna talk the technical aspects of this, and then I'm gonna talk the GRC, CISO GRC mafia perspective of this. This Israeli-based company, no one's really got a solution for this. This Israeli-based company, by the way, Israel makes great cyber products, has come up with like friggin' laser beams that encode, not encode, but they translate the data into like lasers, and then they transmit that, which means it's not going across a wire, right? I assume that it's on the at the non internet layer, right? Like I'm assuming it's. I mean, fiber optics is used to transmit data, but they said that it's kind of an out of band way to do this, right? Encrypted optical noise. Well, maybe it does go across the wire. Whatever it is, it's basically encrypted noise, and I guess they said it's a proprietary key that's required to decrypt it. I got to tell you two things, okay? Number one, right, obviously some nation state, they're probably charging a ton of money for this. Some nation states don't want their data to be decrypted later in life, so they're going to pay for this, all right? Second thing, when it comes to cryptography, okay, in my experience, in my back when I had a smooth chin and I had a twinkle in my eye, all the way to now where I'm all grizzled and look like a catcher's mitt, rolling your own encryption typically doesn't work, okay? So having a proprietary key, having a proprietary algorithm, I mean, I haven't seen it work very well. There's a reason that AES and Raindoll, right? Or, that's the real name of it. But there's a reason that Blowfish and all these encryption algorithms work. It's because they're made publicly available and then scrutinized by mathematicians all over the place and get broken if they suck. The encryption algorithm isn't what's important. It's the key you use when you encrypt the data using that algorithm. Okay, next thing as a cyber professional, okay, as a GRC mafia person, the only way I would pay for this solution, okay, I don't want you to steal my data today and decrypt it next year, 2 years from now. Guy, if I am sending information at the nation state level now, what is the actual risk if it gets decrypted in 2 years? If I'm talking about our military strategy for this fall, or what my Halloween costume is in 2025, if I'm talking about my bank account balance today, is that worth buying a multi-million-dollar solution to protect? I don't know. I mean, people don't really change their credentials that often, especially when they have really, really, really strong passphrases and stuff. So you could argue that if they get the passwords, it'll be the same passwords a year from now. I guess, I don't know. This is one of those ones where I'd have to do a real risk calculation to see if the juice is worth the squeeze. But having said that, if you have infinite money, right? Say you're say this company's it's $10 million a year, and you have like a multi-trillion-dollar budget, who gives a crap? You know, I'll take 2. So I don't know. Usually CISOs are forced to make, you know, a meal out of like a pork chop, a chicken wing, and a leftover mashed potatoes. You know what I'm saying? You're not sitting down to the you're not getting the lobster meal and John Candy's summer rental movie. That's a gem. For those in chat, Space Tacos, John Candy's summer rental, where he wants the lobster, and the Judge Schmells guy gets the last one. Okay. All right, let's keep cooking.
Harris exec pleads guilty to selling 0 days to broker. Former L3 Harris executive Peter Williams pleaded guilty to stealing and selling 8 U.S. government zero-day exploits to a Russian broker, Operation Zero, for millions in cryptocurrency. Prosecutors say the theft caused $35 million in losses and could have given foreign actors advanced hacking tools. Williams faces up to 20 years in prison.
Good.
With sentencing set for January.
Good. You know what? F around, find out, Peter Williams, 39. We'll see you when you're 60. The good news is you'll be able to retire just a few years later. I mean, technically. And maybe your Bitcoin that you got from the Russians will be worth something at that point too, right? Dude, this guy stole weapons, basically. He stole cyber weapons from the U.S. government, right? I'm sure L3 was being paid by the government to develop these the software weapons. You know, how much is enough, right? You know, everybody's got their own deal. Everybody's got their own drivers, right? This guy was an executive at L3. Now, he was 39, so I don't know. I mean, you can be successful at 39, but you don't typically see 39-year-old executives. But hold on. I'm kind of curious, all right? I'm about to judge this guy so hard. I want to see, like, I'm just curious if it has his salary. All right, I'm not going to do this on stream, but a lot of publicly traded companies, will publish in their 10K filings their executive's salary. If this guy truly was an executive, his salary would be released in those 10K filings. I'm assuming L3 Harris is a publicly traded company. My thing is, the guy made $1.3 million in crypto, by the way. You're going to have to wash that, which, you know, the people are going to be watching the wallets that got that money, or where all of a sudden you got $1.3 million. But here's my thing. I certainly wouldn't trade 20 years of my life for $1.3 million. But this guy was probably making, I don't know, $200,000, being incredibly conservative with my estimate here. If he was an executive, let's say $1 million. So this jackwagon, I mean, right now, if I was to say to you, hey, listen, I'll make you a deal. I will give you 1x your salary right now for you to commit treason. What do you say? Like, are you effing joking, man? This guy probably thought he was the smartest guy in the room, too. I'm just like dunking on this guy now at this point, but I just don't have any patience for like this type of issue. You know, I mean, I hate it when like kids are getting hurt. I hate when elderly people are taken advantage of, and I just hate when you're like stealing like legit capabilities and selling them to the adversaries for money. All right. So anyways, this is an insider threat. The guy got caught. No big deal. I don't know if the FBI discovered it first and then or the CIA found it and worked backwards. There could have been an informant in Russia who was a double agent selling secrets back to the U.S. saying, hey, this guy is selling weapons to Russia. It could have been the Bitcoin wallet of Russian state actors that was being watched and then saw transactions to the tune of $1 million being made and them saying, hey, that looks like a payoff for something. Let's track who owns this wallet. Oh, it's Peter Williams. He signed up on Coinbase, right? There's numerous ways that this guy could have dorked it up. OPSEC is a thing. I'll tell you what, if I was going to commit treason, I sure as hell would first move out of the United States. But instead, this guy's going to get 20 years. Okay, good. Oh, actually, you could see here, it looks like they did... Yeah. It was a 0 day. 8 0 days this guy sold. I'll tell you what, man. 0 days are worth a lot of money. We're getting back into that market. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to simplycyber.io/books. I'm typing with one hand, too, so give me some grace. This book right here. This is how they tell me the world ends. On Amazon. This book is phenomenal. There's an entire section of this book that talks about the underground 0 day marketplace and how it came to be and how, like, the level of money being thrown around there. It sounds great. You find a 0 day and then you responsibly disclose it to the vendor. And then you get a little bit of cred. You get a blog post. Or you could sell it to a country for $1 million, right? That is compelling, right? If you're trying to write a blog post so you get a job that makes $140,000 a year, or you can just cut to the $1 million check, that is compelling and quite difficult for some people to turn down.
Straight cash, homie.
Microsoft security change for Azure VMs creates pitfalls. Microsoft postponed a planned Azure network security change to March 2026 after feedback from customers concerned it could disrupt apps dependent on public internet access. The update would make private subnets the default for new virtual networks, blocking automatic outbound connections to the internet to align with zero trust principles. Existing networks shouldn't be affected, but experts warn firms to prepare now or risk broken workloads once the change does take effect. Do you live in Boston?
All right. So Microsoft trying to do the right thing by making the default configuration not have public outbound access. You just have to toggle it on, basically. That extra step is going to break everything. Dude, the United States federal government issued a mandate, like an executive order, under Biden, right? So it's been a couple years, mandating that all federal systems needed to adopt zero trust architecture within like 90 days. Now, at the time, we all made fun of it because it's an absolute absurd declaration to say get on zero trust in 90 days. That was like 2 years ago. You know what? And Microsoft's trying to help you help yourself, and they have to delay it because people are losing their collective minds because they can't handle toggling on allow public outbound access. And again, I know I'm simplifying all this, but it just, come on, man. Zero trust architecture is what it is. MFA should be rolled out all over the place. Microsoft's doing the thing, man. Look at this. Secure Future Initiative. Microsoft went all in on security. And they've got these engineering principles, right? Protect networks, protect tenants, protect identities, protect engineering systems. You know how you do that? Zero trust architecture. That's how you do it in 2025. Don't trust anything. The TLDR is if these systems don't have default outbound access by default, when a system gets compromised, you can't reach out to a C2 and pull down additional payloads. That is the end of it. That's it. Can't exfil data out. Microsoft's trying to help you help yourself. They're trying to put the safety on the pistol, right? You can turn the safety off, but can we just have the safety on by default? I don't know. Maybe I ask too much. All right, here we are. Let's keep going. Hey. Guys, I hope you had a great show. Live from the cockpit here in Columbia, South Carolina with my hot, pink roosters. You can't even see it. Like, there's a pink mirror. Do you see how the mirror reflects the roosters? This is what I slept in last night. Okay, guys? Nightmare fuel. I'll be back at the Buffer Auger Flow studio for Halloween. Can't wait to see James McQuiggan, who's going to go trick-or-treating with me and the kids and Nadine tomorrow. Guys, don't go anywhere because it's Thursday, which means only one thing. My friend, your friend, community member, Daniel Lowry is going to shred Monster Energy drinks, but your face with cyber knowledge. He's going to do an AMA for 30 minutes. You have questions, he's got answers. It's all about good times. I'm really looking forward to seeing many of you, including Daniel Lowry, at Simply CyberCon this Monday. As always, stay classy, San Diego. I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. Until next time, stay secure. Don't go anywhere. We got you covered. Ever wonder what it takes to break into cybersecurity? Join us every weekday for Jawjacking, where industry experts answer your burning questions about the cybersecurity field. Live, unfiltered, and totally free. Let's level up together. It's time for some Jawjacking.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Jawjacking. Thank you, Jerry, for the introduction. Yeah, I don't have a monster this morning. I have the empty remnants of last Friday's monster. It's still sitting here. I forgot to, throw it away. But that's okay. I like to look at it, stare at it, and longfully. Hopefully, I'm coming in better than a potato, because anybody that joined me for Cybercast After Dark last night knows we had a little trouble. When it came to, the clarity and the quality of the audio and the video, mostly the video. But that was fun. Thanks for everyone that joined us there. But this is Jawjacking. This is a completely different show. I did speed tests and everything this morning. Everything looks like it's sailing. And I'm glad to see everyone, where we are going to have a good time talking about cybersecurity. I like cybersecurity. That's a fun thing to do, that old cybersecurity. Man, every day is a good day when the cybersecurity gets on there. We're going to talk cybersecurity here, and you get to ask questions. You get to bring up cool and interesting topics, and then I get to moderate and or answer said questions. That's the format here. So if you've got a question for me, drop it in the chat. And speaking of, I like to show that on this. There we go. Get a little bit of that action right there. Yeah. Just looks like we're actually having a conversation when your conversation is showing up right there next to me. You know what else I want to do? I want to make it look like, can I do this? I can't do that. I can't believe it. I wanted to switch sides with it, but it won't let me. But that's such is life. Now, let's get to that. So if you got your cybersecurity questions, we're going to have some fun. Like I said, I'll do my best to answer them. That's the format of the show. Plus, I try to keep it light and fun, where we have a couple of laughs. And because if you listen to the news today on Jerry, then there's probably a few things that can make you go, oh, man, what's wrong? What's going on with cyber? Why is cyber such a downer? Why is it such a depressing state of affairs all the time? It's like all the things we do, and then here comes threat actors going, look at this cool fort you built, and then smashes it like a 4-year-old. I know what that's like because I have a 4-year-old. I see the term thrunting is getting thrown around in the chat. That's always fun. Thanks, Roswell UK, for giving us all the ick, because there's just something about that word that makes us go, blah, blah, right? All right, let's look for some questions. This one comes from Gregory. He asked me, right? And I think that does say Gregory. Gregory asks, did I see Jerry on 2 Cyber Chicks yesterday? Straight nerd. I did not see that. I'm writing it down right now. I need to see 2 Cyber Chicks with Jerry. All right, that's going down. So I'll have to check that out, because that's going to be funny. If you want to see the best screenshot, go to a Cybercast After Dark last night on my channel and go to like timestamp 1545-ish, I think it is, and then watch the whole thing. Just I was not having a good time with the whole restream thing, but somebody mentioned that in the chat. I need to pin that comment so that everybody can watch it, because it is hysterical to watch the stream freak out on my end. Super funny. What's up, Amish Runway? Good to see you this morning. Who else is in the chat today? We got Amish Runway, Runaway, Marcus Kyler. We see Medin G. Cool. Straw Hat Sec, Dream Logic Inc. Who else we got in there? Space Tacos, Buford. That's a fun name. I like that. The Buford. Of course, Roswell UK, as always. Find the True 2. Not to be confused with Find the True 1. LinkedIn user. Gotta love LinkedIn user. Always a great time to have LinkedIn user here. But there we go. We got Ab Showtime Obey. I love that. Great name there. Great name. Tech Grunt, my man. Good to see you. All right, I'm looking for your questions. Yeah, this one comes from Space Tacos. Why is cybersecurity such a downer? Because stupid-ish keeps happening. That it's this weird dichotomy, honestly, between the cool part of the job and the not so cool part of the job. There's this weird, it's like balancing the force, Luke. You cannot have the light side if there is no dark. It's a privation, you see. It's my best. That's my best. But anyway, yeah, that is weird because we do a lot of stuff. We get to play with a lot of cool technology. We get to test a lot of cool technology, see if it's actually doing what we think it's doing. We have pen tests, we got vulnerability assessments, and we got blue teams doing stuff like SIEM and SOAR and XDR and EDRs and all this stuff. And then some threat actor sends a user an email and it all just gets kicked over. And you're like, or L3 executives go, you know what I need to do today? I gotta return that email. I remember I got an email from some Russian threat actor and they need some 0 days, like real quick. I got to get on that. So they do. And you're like, what's going on here? What are we doing? We're trying to keep the place safe. And y'all are sitting around here starting fires all the time. And of course, then the threat actors, and they just waltz over the things that we do to stop them. And then we build something. We go, this is it, right? We build something new and we stop them for a hot minute. And then the threat actors go, oh, they're ruining our fun. We got to figure a way around this. And they get crafty. And we just continue the cycle. So it can be a little frustrating. It can be. It's not frustrating when we're in the winning stage of it. It is frustrating when we're in the losing stage of it all the time. Oh, let's see here. Looking for some questions. Here's one. This one comes from Soap Flavored. It's just like I like my drinks, soap flavored. There was an article this morning that mentioned invisible code. Think it was related to Glassworm. Is this common now? So I think it was invisible dependencies. So when you have software, a lot of them, you're importing stuff, right? You're saying, hey, I don't want to reinvent the wheel on X, Y, or Z. I don't know anything about Glassworm, so I'm going to go look that up real quick while I tell you about this. So when you write code, you don't want to reinvent the wheel all the time because that would take you forever. And oh, goodness gracious. Glassworm is actually like a real thing. Self-propagating VS Code extension worm. So Glassworm is a highly sophisticated self-propagating worm that has been spreading through Visual Code extensions, the Open VSX registry, and the Microsoft Extension Workplace, marking a significant evolution in supply chain attacks. All right, let's see here. Koi security, the malware, invisible Unicode characters, specifically variation selectors. Was that what I thought what Jerry was talking about? Because I didn't catch the whole thing, I only caught a bit of it, was that it was a dependency, that it was showing that there were no dependencies, right? No, I'm not reaching out and grabbing other code, but it actually was. But because it wasn't doing it in the traditional sense, it was showing that there was zero dependency. So if you look at the software building materials when it comes to that code, as you import it and use it or download it, right, and implement it into your tech stack, all of a sudden it starts to call out to a bunch of dependencies. You're like, whoa, what's going on here? But you don't even realize that's happening until it's a little too late. So yeah, but this Glassworm thing seems fairly similar. So I see why you would think and maybe even be the same. Like I said, I don't know about Glassworm. Key feature of Glassworm is to use decentralized, resilient command and control infrastructure. It leverages the Solana blockchain to store and retrieve its next stage payloads, base64 encoded data, hidden in transaction memos to communicate with the C2 server. The blockchain-based C2 is described as, quote, unkillable, unquote, because blockchain entries cannot be altered or deleted, making takedown efforts extremely difficult. That's kind of fun. And by fun, I mean, scary. I mean, see, there's that dichotomy again of cybersecurity where it's like, oh, that's super cool and horrible at the same time. I don't know how to feel about this. I'm leaning toward, "Ugh," but there's a little bit that's like, whoa, right? Like, do you like how I convey thought through just random sounds? There's no actual words to it, but you got what I was saying. I'm going to learn more about Glassworm, though. Thank you for bringing that up, So Flavored. I like it. Makes me happy, gives me something to do. Let's see here. Ooh, here we go. This comes from Keith Sloan. What's your favorite platform for labs? Home labs. Home labs are the best. They're my favorite. Build it. Takes longer. It's really difficult. You want to, like, pull your bottom lip down your chest half the time. That's a lovely picture of, it's near Halloween, right? We got to get weird. We got to get gory. But yeah, I love home labs. I think home labbing is great because I learned so much trying to build the thing and going, oh, okay. And then I get just a butt ton of experience with whatever it was, and just so that I could break something, right? If I have to build it, then I get to break it. Whereas if I just break it, well, that's good. Other than that, if you're moving into like more, hey, these are stood up labs. So I like Pen Tester Lab. Honestly, great platform, really fun stuff. I've learned a lot on Pen Tester Lab. I've been doing that. I've been talking about Pen Tester Lab lately because I just feel like it's not getting enough love, and it's a great platform. Then, like Hack the Box, of course, like Juice Shop is great as well. There's a bunch of the goats that are out there, right? Your web goat, your cloud goat, your this, that, and the other goats. There's an API called Vampy. That's a cool lab to spin up. So learn about API hacking. I like Websploit. Websploit's always a good one. LabShock is a cool one for learning OT and ICS. Thanks, Mike Holcomb, for that one. So yeah, there you go. There's some few good stuff for you. Hopefully that helps answer your question on that. Moving on. TechGrunt says, don't worry, there was a meme created to remember that. It's in memoriam with a meme. I saw the still frame. It's hysterical. This was from After Dark last night, from Cybercast After Dark with Mike Saunders. Mike did a great job. He is so much fun, and man, does he know a lot of stuff. That dude knows everything with the red teaming and all the fun things that red teamers do. He was a great guest to have on last night. We went a little bit down the rabbit hole. So if you're new to offensive security stuff and you go and check out that episode, it is going to probably be the deep end for you. But as I say, and hopefully it come through in the episode and didn't get garbled from Restream, was that it's good to dive into the deep end of the pool from time to time because you learn stuff. You become a stronger swimmer. Someone said, or you drown. Yeah, that can happen too. You don't dive too deep into the deep end. You just kind of wade out there and then, it's time to get back. It's time to get back. Know your limits. All right, let's see here. Here's one from Alicia Grimm. Always enjoy Alicia. How are you today? What inspired you to study hacking mobile tech? Just seeing it more and more often as a standard thing, and it's not something I've really ever dove into too deeply. I've dabbled at it I'm talking a little bit from time to time, but it never caught my attention. And now it's like, oh, you know what? That seems like it's more of a standard skill you need to have at this point in time. So I got a little backfill of the repertoire to get to, and that's what it kind of boiled down to. We tell anybody that's getting into cybersecurity, I hope you like learning because it will never end. Mike even said this last night. You're never going to know everything about everything. It's just not going to happen. You're going to niche down into something that you really like and have some aptitude for. That's just going to happen naturally. And the other stuff, you're going to get familiar enough with it. And then you're going to build up a group of people that you know that are niched into those things and go, hey, I need your help on this. I don't understand blank. So you have to have a group of people. You have to have your peeps. And that might be in a Discord. That might be, somewhere else. I'm thinking about building an IRC chat. I'm gonna go old school, right? That'll be fun. But there you go. That's what inspired me to study hacking mobile tech. And it's been fun so far, right? Just spinning up the Android 86 environment, which was so great because I like Genymotion and using things like the Android Studio. It's useful. It works enough, but I feel like everything being in the same environments. So I'm running everything in not VirtualBox, which you can do, but I'm not running VirtualBox. I'm running VMware Workstation Pro. And everything being within that same ecosystem is going to make my life a whole lot easier. And the fact that I've got an Android thing and I can do testing on it, and that's basically what it was built for. That's just the easy button on that. Not that I won't try to integrate and work with the others as well, but got to start simple until, right? You baby steps. What about Bob? What about Bob? Speaking of, there's Cheddar Bob. What's up, Cheddar Bob? Good to see you. Let's see here. Oh, I just got to throw this on there because Dream Logic Inc. wants to mention that beautiful guitar and Pac-Man. Hello, Monster Cans. Hey, everybody loves my background. I'm so glad. It's just my stuff. And I enjoy it too. So thank you. I'm glad to know you think I have some kind of good style and taste. Where are we at here? Space Tacos. Why should members of the GRC Mafia nerdery? I like that. Nerdery. Take your pen testing course. How could it help us in our GRC adventures? That is a great question. And ultimately, cybersecurity, I think if I'm pressed, you said, define cybersecurity in one word, it would be risk, right? And that's a big deal. And that spans whether or not you're talking about GRC and audit and all that other fun stuff, to defense and blue teaming, to DFIR, purple teaming, to red teaming, pen testing, all the offensive security stuff. It's all revolves around risk to an organization, right? Risk to a system. So probably starting at organizations and then moving down into the systems themselves, or maybe it's the other way around, depending on what framework you're looking at. But ultimately, we're trying to discover where our risk is and how severe it is and what's the likelihood of it happening, right? So if you're in GRC and you want to really hammer home this is the risk to this organization, you can then marry that to how an attacker would get in if you know how to do that. And that's that. You'll notice that Jerry knows a thing or two about pen testing, right? He's not completely devoid of that information. He has taken some classes. He sits down to see how does that work? Why does he do that? So that when he is advising and consulting to his clients on how they can better be preparing for themselves, what their risk is to their environment, he can say, because an attacker can do something like a command injection through your web application, and then they have access to your backend server where it will run that command, execute those systems, allow them to gain access and then maintain access through persistence techniques. And here's how that's done. So if and probably when someone does find their way into your systems, this is the risk associated with that. And here's the likelihood of that happening. So that's what it all boils down to, is putting some feet and some wheels on that engine to say, hey, yeah, I'm telling you that this is the likelihood and possible vectors of risk for your company or your organization. But here's some real tangible ways in which that would work itself out. So it's not that you have to go out and be a pen tester necessarily, like to your point, Space Tacos, but you do get to add some meat to that bone. I tell me, so the way I teach the CIA triad now, you start talking about confidentiality. You say, okay, confidentiality is the idea that we have data on our systems that only certain people are supposed to be able to see. And we define that through a defense mechanism, something like an ACL, right? We make an access control list that says, here's what the access should look like to this data. Well, now you got an attacker. Well, that data is in a database, and that database is connected to something like a web front end. And then I'll spin up something like Juice Shop, right? Which has a database. And it is connected to a web application. That web application is internet accessible. anybody can access it. Now here comes along Mr. Attacker or Miss Attacker, and they go, oh, look at this, an input box. Cool. Let me try this little injection attack right here. Oh, look, now I have access to the data that's in the database, and specifically data I should not have access to because I haven't authenticated. And even if I were, it's likely that this data is not meant for me to see. Therefore, confidentiality has now gone boom, poof, poof, go bye-bye. See it? Wave away. Goodbye, confidentiality. It's gone because it's no longer confidential, right? So that takes the idea of what the risk is, explains the vulnerability behind it and how it impacts the business. And then, of course, I can go with that being happening. If I was a ransomware group, now I can crypto lock all that information, exfil out all that information, do a double, triple extortion. That'll be fun. You're going to get to pay out when it comes to your cyber insurance or, take some reputational damage. At least you're going to have to send out that lovely email that tells everybody that, hey, sorry to be the one to tell you this, but we got breached the other day, right? All that fun stuff gets to go into play. You have to pull out the incident response playbook. You got to get the incident responders in here. Now you're moving a machine that normally stays dormant just because we didn't understand the vulnerability and therefore the risk properly. That was a long answer. Hopefully it was a good one for you. I hope that makes sense. Moving on. We've got 9 minutes to go. What good? Okay, there's one from Gregory. What's good certs for being AI consultant? That's a great question. I don't know because I'm not an AI consultant, but I'm sure a Google search away. I'm probably new enough. I know CompTIA is coming out with some AI stuff, so probably a great place to start. There's stuff on Coursera. I don't know if there's like well-known AI certs at this point. Certifications for AI, like engineering, automation, right? There's a lot of different stuff. Prompt engineer. It just depends. I guess it's like any other field of IT that kind of has its niches, and you got to figure out which niche you want to get into and then move along down the line when it comes to that. So a great question though, and something we probably need to all get our finger on the pulse of. I just don't have that information for you right now. If anybody in the chat knows a good one, please put that in there for us all to learn from. But cool question. Thank you, Gregory. Let's see here. Where are we at? Where can we find? Okay, what's this one? The Rich 464 asks, with OpenAI looking like they will be doing a $1 trillion IPO, how do you feel about advertising your AI answers? Well, if I'm paying for a subscription, no. If I'm paying you money at all, then no, you don't get to use my data for other stuff. That's the reason I'm paying you. I pay you for a service, you give me the service, and that's the end of our agreement, in my estimation. I know that's not how it's going to be. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that kind of stuff. I'm more of a privacy-focused person. I'm not saying I do that perfectly, and we all have our hypocrisies in life. That's probably one of them with mine. That doesn't mean it's not right. It just means that I don't do it well enough anyway. That said, what are you going to do? $1 trillion IPO. So I've been seeing a lot of stuff about the AI bubble getting ready to burst. So that's if they don't do something, and maybe that's why the $1 trillion IPO. I don't know. I'm not a businessman, honestly, but it's an interesting question. Oh, are you talking about advertise? Oh, man, I think I read this wrong. You're saying that I get advertisements in my AI. Guess what? My answer is still the same. If I'm paying you money, I don't want a flipping commercial. Stop with the commercials. Like, who's got money anyway? Right? I'm already giving you some. Why do you need? I'm young. I'm old enough to remember when cable came out, and that was the whole purpose of cable television. You paid for cable TV instead of using broadcast communications over the radio waves, because there were no commercials. You just got TV. It was TV after TV. And then shortly after that, someone said, We should put commercials in this. And so began the cat and mouse. Like, here's a cool service. Get hooked on it. And as soon as you are, they realized that's all we got to do. We get you hooked on a really great service. And then we go, gotcha. Here comes the monetization and the commercialization. So I'm not a huge fan. Half the time, I just want to buy a plot of land out in the middle of Nowheresville and build a farm. I understand that that's a very difficult thing to do. That's very hard. You got to work physically. It's very demanding and difficult, and not, you'll lose crops. And if that's how you're sustaining yourself, but man, the end product is very attractive to me from time to time, where I just go, whatever with these stupid computers and all the advertising and everything tracking me. All right. Cool question, though. I don't like it. That's the answer. I don't like it. It makes me feel all funny inside. Nah, I'm not a fan. All right. Moving on. We've got 5 minutes to go before the Cybersecurity Mentors podcast. We've got questions, I am sure. I just haven't scrolled far enough. Let's see here. Here's one. Thinking of taking an RCCE boot camp. Money grab or worth it? RCCE boot camp. You guys are talking about stuff I have no idea about. What is that? What's RCCE? I do not know what RCCE is. Anybody know what RCCE? Oh, here we go. Secure Ninja. Rochester Certified Cybersecurity Engineer Training and Certification. Is that what you're talking about? I've never heard of them. Let's take a look. What is the price? Start off with the price. How much that money? I don't see it. Schedule, blah, blah, blah. First name. Oh, yeah, you got to contact them. I don't see a $sign hooked to this thing. So you have to tell me how much money it is before I tell you whether or not it's worth it. Yeah, anybody know? RCCE? If you do, drop that in chat for me as quick as possible while I look through this. Course outline, though. First, let's start with the prereqs. A solid understanding of networking fundamentals, operating systems, and basic scripting is recommended. Prior cybersecurity experience is helpful but not required. Okay, interesting. And course outline, Linux and scripting for cybersecurity, Python for security engineers, penetration testing, malware and exploit development, IoT, AI, and cloud security. How long? It's 5 days, 40 hours. You're never going to learn all that stuff in 5 days. Never going to learn all that stuff in there's no flipping way. Topics covered, Linux security, command line tools, master bash scripting in 5 days, kernel management and permit. I'm sorry. I just don't believe it. This could be the most amazing thing ever. This is the first time I've ever seen this. This is a hot take for Daniel. I know nothing about them, whether it's a good company, how well they do, or whatever, but it just seems improbable to me. I've been a trainer for a long time to teach you Linux and command line tools, master bash scripting, kernel management, and permission models, Python programming, right? Offensive and defensive security automation scripts, penetration testing and red teaming, execute, recon, exploit, post-exploitation. Basically, they could probably walk you through all doing this, but it's like, you're not going to, I don't see how, let me put it that way. I don't see how you can learn IoT and SCADA security and embedded devices and industrial control systems, as well as AI, machine learning, hacking, cloud and zero trust security in 5 days. Are they 5 24-hour days that you don't sleep? And hence the term boot camp. That just seems crazy. I don't like stuff like that. Like, break this into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 courses and make them all 10 days. Charge less money. It looks like $15.99. And I don't know, man. I would do some research on this. I don't have any. This is from secureninja.com. Is that correct? I saw someone say it was $15.99. Yeah, I don't know enough about them, bro. I would do a lot of research on this to see how well people enjoyed this information, and start with the cons. Start with people that, because they are going to show you the people that loved it, because that's called marketing. 9:30, time for the Cybersecurity Mentors podcast. This was fun, kids. Thank you for joining us today. Jump on over, have a good time. Until next time, stay secure.